Well, good. I enjoy this time. You know, years ago, I was attending the SWORD conference. I had to tell you how it came about. I was attending the SWORD conference, and a couple of the preachers came up to me and said, "You know Brother Smith very well. I wish we could get to know him." And I thought about that. So I approached him. I said this. I said, "Why don't you have somebody, get one of your staff guys, do whatever you want to do. Why don't you consider having a question and answer time? That way the people can get to know you." And he said, "Okay," but he said, "Here's what I'd like to do. Would you consider maybe, some things about that, later, would you consider?" And I don't remember the full gist of the conversation, but I got thinking about that. I thought, well, I have him. He comes to our conference. I'm in charge of our conference, and I can do what I want to do. And so I asked him, I said, "Can I go ahead and do a question and answer time?" And he delightedly said so. If you get to know Dr. Smith, here's one thing I appreciate about him, and other men too. I'm not downing anybody else. I'm talking from my heart. I've never met a man that is more of a gentleman. People can attack him from all sides of life, and he'll still be a gentleman to them. And that reminds me of Christ so much. Never attack back, just a gentleman. And I have learned so much from him, and I appreciate him. Let me just cover a couple of things about these fellas, if I can. When I hire an assistant pastor, I go over some things with them. I tell them, I want you to become a co-laborer with me. You've heard Brother Bachman use that phrase a couple of times. I believe this because I was raised in a business-type world, and my daddy taught me this. My daddy had 400 employees, and my daddy taught me this. He said, when you give a person ownership, they'll do a better job for you. And so I've asked each one of the guys, I said, I want you to come and help me to pastor the people at Parkside. Now, that doesn't mean you're the pastor, but I'm going to give you that which is a description of what I want you to do, and I need you to fulfill those things, okay? I always tell them I reserve the right to veto anything that goes on here. And they're very kind to me. These are gentlemen. They're very kind to me, and they run stuff by me all the time, and I appreciate that so very much. We have 2 staff meetings a week. We have one that's called a general staff meeting or a combined staff meeting. And the combined staff meeting, the reason I have that is because it's driven with a purpose behind it. I try to get everybody on the same page, because if we're not careful, we have a larger ministry here, and some guys can start to run their direction. They think that their ministry is the most important ministry, and it gets out of balance. And so the staff meeting that we have as a combined staff meeting is to keep everybody in the same balance. Sort of like a puzzle. You look at the puzzle, making sure all the pieces are in the right place. And that's what I do with the combined staff meetings, to keep everybody zoned in as to what we're supposed to be doing. Because if one person gets out of place, then it causes the thing to get out of balance. So it's a time to get everybody in the same lanes to be able to do that. Then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I have individual staff meetings. These men are allowed to come in, and for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever they need, we'll talk about that, whether it's in their personal life, whether it's in their ministry life, whether it's in their family life, whatever the case is. I have a policy at our place here that my door is always open, and when it's open for you. Now, if it's closed, that means it's closed for me. That means that maybe I'm on an important phone call. That means I may be in a Bible study. I'm trying to get things done that I need personal time. But even I tell our college kids that come here, and some of our staff men here, I don't know which ones, but I've seen them do it. They practice some of the same thing. They'll keep their door open, and the same policy, and some of them, they keep it open for you. And so I try and keep an open door policy even for the men that's here. And probably Gilbert uses it more than anybody else, because he's right across the hallway. And he'll see my door open. He'll say, "Can I come in and talk with you?" And so, but I enjoy that. And if it's open, I mean it's open for them. I hire slowly. The reason I hire slowly is because of the fact if you hire the wrong guy, it can upset the whole apple cart. I'll give you an example. Our new hire, Brother Will, he's only been here 2 years. But here's what I did for Brother Will. I didn't know Brother Will. Okay, so what I asked my assistant pastors, I said, I want you to help me make a decision. I want you and your wife to take he and his wife out, and I want to hear from you whether you think it would be a good hire or not, because I don't know them that well, and I don't want to make a bad decision. And so they were all a part of the equation of him coming on staff and his dear wife moving here and them becoming a part of the growing fabric that is right here. And so I'm very careful to hire slowly. I do not hire based on somebody's soul winning skill. Brother Casey Palmer, remember this. When I hired him, he said, look, he said, I'm not the great soul winner that you think I am. I said, I'm not hiring you to be a soul winner. I'm hiring you because I need an expert in music and an expert in finances. I can always train someone to be a soul winner, but I cannot train loyalty. And so I hired him because of the loyalty he had for the former pastor, and he did an excellent job on that. I hired because of loyalty. I can train them with anything else. I hired because they have a teachable spirit. If they don't have a teachable spirit and they think that they're Mr. Superman or Miss Superwoman, I don't hire them. I don't hire them. I learned years ago from Bob Grace Sr., you never hire somebody that already thinks that had arrived in the ministry. Because when they come in, they'll never take instructions from you. They'll do it the way they want to do it, regardless what you say. You have to hire somebody with a teachable spirit. I do hire people for expertise. I'll give you the lineup. So Brother Will over there, he's in charge of our youth. He does a good job with youth. He also assists with the media. He has a profound depth of understanding about media, more so than anybody we ever had on staff. He does a super job. He has saved us tens of thousands of dollars without him even knowing it, I think. Brother Josh is second in line here. He's my son, and he's over the children's ministries here. Now that includes, we have between 8 and 11 different types of children's ministries. Sunday morning is different here. I don't preach to everybody. We have 13 services, as much as 13 services going on at the same time. Okay, I only preach to the adults that's in here and some of the teenagers that come in from our A division. But he is over all the children's ministries here. That's Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. He's also our bus director, does a good job. Sitting right beside him is Casey Palmore. Casey Palmore is excellent. If you want to know something about finances, don't go to Dave Ramsey. Go to Casey Palmore, okay? He's got it down, man. He just can help you with a budget. I'm telling you, this guy could go someplace and be a millionaire, but I'm not letting him go anywhere. I've got him, and I'm going to keep him. But he's good on finances. He's excellent on music. We have 5 choirs here. We have a bus ministry choir. We have a children's choir. We have a teen choir. We have an adult, am I doing it right? We have a teen choir, we have a college choir, and we have an adult choir, 5 choirs. He oversees all 5 choirs. All music, we have a double affirmative here. I do not want contemporary music to slip in, period. First thing that goes into church is music. Listen to me carefully. Second thing that goes into church is biblical dress. Listen to me carefully. Third thing that goes into church is the King James Bible. It's always in that order. Every single time that order, okay? Now, if I can get the first thing taken care of, I don't have to worry too much about the second and third thing, okay? So he helps out with the music. He guards our music program. Everything that gets sung in here has 2 signatures on it. It goes to his office first. He'll sign off on it. Now, normally, if he signs off on it, I okay it. But sometimes he'll put a note on there and say, according to your preference. And I'll say, I don't need it. I don't want it that way. I want him to Parkside it. That means I want it to be different, okay? We don't just go by the music, we go by the author, okay? All of a sudden, if a guy came out of the closet, he's now a queer, we don't use it, okay? Or something, but he's good with that. And we got Brother Bachman. Brother Bachman is a blessing. Brother Bachman is probably one of the most organized men. These guys will agree on this because they're in staff meeting. And but he's probably one of the, if I forget it, he'll mention it. You know, now, he doesn't do it in a bad way. He's insistent. He knows who he is. But can I tell you, he is a very organized individual. And when Brother Jeff Owens recommended him, he didn't do wrong by me. And Brother Bachman and I have been knowing each other for over 30 years. And we have the same heart, the same drive, the same intent, the same purpose. And he's a good man. And he loves our kids here at the college. I call him this. Yeah, give it to him. Yeah. See, he's got people that love him too. These other fellows didn't get that, did they? You know, but okay. Oh, there you go. You got one Lone Ranger back there. And so, but he does a good job with their young people. I often say this about Brother Bachman. He's my boots on the ground And all these guys run mediation for me, okay? I run a lot, I do a lot, I preach off a lot. They'll tell you that. I preach overseas a lot, I train people a lot, I'm on the go a lot. This is the team that makes it happen at Parkside, right here. And I hired men because I know that they can help me with the work, and they've done an awesome job. Now, Brother Botman, he's also over not just our Bible college here, vice president, but he's also over our international colleges. Dr. Smell, and he'll remember me telling him this back in that corner back there, and we talked about it. I talked to Dr. Smell, that was our vice president before him. I wanted to do this, and Brother Smell didn't have a burden for it, but you got to have someone who's got a burden for it. One day we're standing back there, and he says, I got an idea. And he says, how about if we use the curriculum we got to help start colleges? Well, we had a visitor there that day, Brother Shrivnoff. Well, I've known Brother Shrivnoff because his sister and his brother were a part of my youth department in New York, and I said, well, you know, let's ask Noel if he'd be willing to do a pilot. And I sent him to his office. That was the very first one, and he has done a tremendous job. And God has built that thing, but he's my boots on the ground about that thing too. Can I tell you, I had the burden, and he fulfills the details. And he has done a super duper job. And if you want him, you cannot have him, and just a super duper job in helping and running the college. He's also over our security department, so I feel pretty good, secure in academics and secure in my physical being. And this is Brother Gilbert. He is our academy principal. I was hoping you'd do that. And he's the principal of our academy. He's also, of course, our Spanish director and pastor there, and does a good job there so very, very much. All right, fellas, I think we're off now to be able to ask these questions here. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it up a little bit. And so, Brother Botman, why don't you tell, now we're going to have to keep them short. I'm going to remind you all of this. They got to be short answers, okay, because we had a lot of questions here. What is your personal Bible reading schedule and your pattern of prayer that you could give me an idea of how I could improve mine?
Every year, not only do I read the Bible through several times, but I try to pick a different focal area to put deeper study into. So when I was younger, I chose the doctrinal books, Romans, and all the Pauline epistles, and I read through those every month, and then I would study out different doctrines within that. One year I chose the life of David. I love David in the Old Testament, and I studied out the life of David. I read 1st and 2nd Samuel and 1st Kings, and studied deep about him. Sometimes I'll pick a certain passage and I'll read it 2 or 3 times a day till I know that passage well, and then I'll go through and I'll study every word in that passage, have a clear understanding of it. And so it kind of alters a little bit from year to year. My Bible reading, that happens all the time. I read Old Testament passages. I read 3 Psalms every day. I read Proverbs. And then I read 2 New Testament passages every day. And that gets me through about 3 or 4 times a year. And then I'll pick a focal area that I'll do. And then I just started recently adding, I used to live right across the way here, so it took me about 30 seconds to get to work. But now I live in Forney. And in the mornings, it takes a little bit longer because of the traffic. And so I've been listening through the Bible as well. So I'll do my Bible reading in the morning like I normally do, but then I'll listen to the Bible as I'm traveling, and that helps me not to cuss at people as much. And so gets me in a better spirit. And so, but I'll listen to the Bible. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God. First of all, I get to learn how to pronounce words I've mispronounced all my life if I listen to somebody else say it. And then I hear it in a new fashion as well. And so I'll listen through the Bible. I get through the Bible about 2 or 3 times a year by listening to it. But study is one of those key ingredients that you'll want to add. My prayer life includes 4 different time frames. I have different times that I pray through different lists, different groups of people that I pray for, different needs. So I have a list prayer, then I have what's called free prayer. That's just about what's going on in my life at the time, and I just talk to God about it and pour out my burden to Him. Then I have intercessory prayer. People say, hey, Brother Boughton, would you pray about such and such? And so I'll write them down that I'll put down on there. And then I have seasons of prayer. So if I'm going through a deep need in my life, a big decision in my life, I'll just go away somewhere and drive off into the woods or find some place and just spend a season in prayer until God gives an answer.
Very good. Now, it's taken them years to get there. You might not pick that up. right quick. But if you listen to what he says, that's a season of growing that you can grow into. Brother Palmer, you're next. I'm going to do these individually as they're written here, and then we'll go to general if we do have time. Brother Palmer, how is it that every department has their own budget, and how do you arrive at having each department to have their own budget?
Our fiscal year goes from October to September, and so around the end of July, we start working on what we call a wish list. You know what a wish list is because you had one as a kid for Christmas, and you would turn in a list to your parents. So these are the things I'd like to have for Christmas. That's what our wish list is here for the staff. It's a wish list. It doesn't mean you'll get it, but it tells us what your desires are, what your needs are for your ministry. And so each staff and each department will turn that in to my office. And then separately, Pastor and I meet about, I'll do a lot of number crunching prior to that meeting, but find out what's available, how much funds we can increase by, or what account spent more or needs more, what account doesn't need as much as they had. We'll make some adjustments there. I'll bring all that to Pastor's office and say, here's the numbers from this past year. Here's what everybody is suggesting or requesting, and then the pastor will make the determination of what the overall need is for each ministry, and then we take that, we balance it, we make sure that it will work. We take that to the church to the deacons first. We take it to the deacons first. I go over all that, and Pastor does with them, and they'll make some suggestions or ask some questions. Then from there, it goes to the church for a vote, to a presentation. And then a week or so later, the church votes on it. And that usually happens toward the end of September. And then we put our budget into place in October, and we run with that budget throughout the year.
Okay, follow-up question on that one. This is with finances too. This is for you. And that is this. When purchasing a big or large item, such as a piano, maybe sound equipment, something like that, what is the protocol?
Let me go back to the previous question. So for instance, I didn't answer it completely. The department, each department is responsible for their own budget with the funds that we give them. Okay, so I don't say, okay, I'm going to make sure that the youth department stays on their little line item budget. No, we just make sure that the money that we give them for the youth department stays within its parameters, and then it's up to Brother Will to determine how he uses those funds within his own personal budget for the youth department. Big ticket items, we always look for multiple bids, at least 3 bids, and we farm it out. We talk research, and then we find the best opportunity that we can find, and then we bring it to the church, to the pastor, to the deacons, or to the church for a vote.
By the way, I love what you've done. You have individualized some of these questions, and that I like that. You've helped me out with that. It makes it easy on me asking the questions.
We don't bring it to a vote unless it's not in the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's always above budget, outside the budget. And God's been good to us here. He really has. We have gracious people that give to the causes that we present to them. I've been here now 16 years. We've never had a vote that did not go through. And that's because of the graciousness of the people that's here. That makes it really good. Brother Gilbert, you're up. How do you balance it between being a principal and the Spanish pastor?
When I came on staff...
Turn him up, would you? Turn him up.
When I came on staff, I had Brother Palmer's haircut. And now I have this haircut. So I am just kidding. As far as the school, we have good kids, honestly. I mean, I know that they're not perfect. They're not perfect. But, we're grateful to have the kids that we have. They're not as much trouble as some may think, but they're not angels either, right? But my wife helps me a lot with all the administration portion of it. I am more of the, they come to my office when they do something wrong. And so they're either going to get a candy in my office or they're not going to get a candy in my office. So it just depends why they're in there. That's the school. And of course, I try to spend time with them as well in the school. Spanish department, we have a good core of people in there. Great soul winners. you know, and they've all been here for many years, and they're just servants. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the Spanish department. It's just that people love the Lord, and they've been trained very well here, and you know, we're doing our best to reach the Spanish community, and I think God's really blessing in that portion there. So,
Brother Will, how do you help a child to prepare or understand the need to go to Bible college?
Growing up in a Christian home, it was something that was always in front of me. This is a great question because I do emphasize going to Bible college, but it always falls under the guidance of Pastor Wells and their parents, and then making sure that they know that that's what God wants them to do. Because I hate having kids go to Bible college when they're not supposed to go to Bible college. I do find, though, that a lot of young people should be going to Bible college that don't. So we have the opposite problem. So I encourage them, whether it be in preaching or going to youth conference, of course, having the Bible college here is very important, encouraging them and pushing them towards giving God their life. That doesn't always mean that it has to be Bible college, but one of the first and best places that you can gain more experience, more knowledge, and more Bible wisdom, and branch out a little bit in growing up as a young person, having more responsibility, having to govern your own time, definitely happens in Bible college. And so I do that through the different activities. A lot of it's built right into how the church works as far as encouraging them to go to Bible college because we have one. But I've been very encouraged in the time that I've been here to see so many of our young people decide to go to Bible college. And I'm encouraged for this next group who they want to go, and they want to go for... I was encouraged as a young person, give God a year, and I definitely appreciated that. But I've been encouraged to see our young people decide, you know, to commit and say, I'm gonna go for 4 years. I'm gonna go all the way. And so my encouragement has always been for it to be from a standpoint of a spiritual decision, because it is a very spiritual decision, and it needs to be a commitment. It needs to be something that you say, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna finish. And then that they know that there are people here who will support them and help make sure that they make it, I think means a lot. So that's kind of the standpoint that I come at it from.
Brother Josh, this is from a pastor. Can you explain why it's important to have children's ministries? Why is it important?
The Bible says to train up a child in the way he should go. Has the idea to understand that you're training a child differently than you're going to train an adult. A child understands differently. You treat a child different than you treat an adult. And sometimes we get in this mode of, well, they all just need to be in the same setting, and they'll get something. And I'm sure they will get something, but how much more could they get if they were in a place that was geared 100% towards them? I don't send first graders to 12th grade. There's a larger percentage of a difference between a first grader and a sixth grader than there is from a sixth grader to a 12th grader. And so having it separated out, you can actually instill a stronger foundation, because foundation is what is needed before you build. And what's in the auditorium is a lot of building. Now, we do have foundational things, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of churches miss out on the foundation, and all they have is a building, and now you're going to have a crumbling child, a crumbling teenager, or even further, a crumbling adult, because they had no foundation to begin with. And so I think it's very important to have a children's
Okay,
ministry.
follow-up question on that one is this. I'm in a small church, and we don't have a children's ministry. When do you think that, and this might be more of a question I can answer, but it's to you, so I want you to answer it. When do you think we should start a children's ministry? We don't have a children's ministry. When would it be wise to start a children's ministry?
When we traveled in evangelism, we showed up at a lot of churches that didn't have a children's ministry. There were some that we went to, and we were the kids. And so I remember even traveling with my own kids. We show up, and they didn't have a nursery. So you have what you push for. That's one thing. But also, if you're not ready for anybody to come, no wonder they're not coming. If there's no place for them. If your baptistry is full of storage, no wonder you don't have any baptisms. If your children's church is full of storage, no wonder you don't have any children. And so you got to have a place. I mean, I know it takes faculty, it takes facility, it takes finances. I get it. But on the same token, if you're not pushing for it, you're not going to have them anyway. And so, yeah, I think that that's the hugest key is just start. Start. Have a place for them, and then push for them to come. It's hard to invite somebody to something you're not going to have anyway. Come to our church. Your family will enjoy it. But where's the place for the kids? And so a lot of parents will grow even more if you have a place for the kids to be while the parents are trying to grow.
Good. Brother Powers, go over and tell them that we'll serve lunch at 5 till 1, 5 till. All right, here's a good one. Oh, this is a good one. We'll start, you each are going to get this, by the way. Here's a good one. What do you do when you disagree with another staff guy that is on staff? We'll go right down the line. You go first. That's a good one.
Number one, we got to understand that we're in the same team. And I believe I've always been a team player. I just believe that we're all in this together. We all have families. Each family is important. I believe the ministry is important, and I believe that this is bigger than a staff member. This is for the Lord. And I think we can all work together. I believe the key thing is communication. I believe that one of the things that has hurt a lot of generations, especially people working together, is texting. I like to talk in person because sometimes it comes out different if it comes in a text. So I learned that from you too, Pastor. Like it's better for us to talk than to text. So communication.
Let me add something to that. Somebody texts me and they write me a book, and they say, da 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 da. Here's my answer to that. Come see me.
Yes.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Come see me. I found out if I start texting back, they may not read my heart. They'll only read my words. And sometimes that causes it to go another way. All right, Brother Bachman, what do you do?
Well, he said about we're a team. Everybody on a team has a different position. So number one, keep your nose in your own area.
Yeah.
We're all better Monday morning armchair quarterbacks than we are true quarterbacks. So you're probably not going to understand it the same way they're going to understand it because you're not in that position. You only have your one viewpoint, and you got plenty to take care of on your own stuff. So number one, stay in your lane. It's not my responsibility. It's not my area. Number two, give grace. You don't know anything, and you certainly didn't know everything, and therefore you had to learn, and let them learn. You're not there to correct. You're there to work as a team. We'll get a lot more accomplished if we all work as a team. And so you have your position, and you only have one viewpoint. And so if you feel there's something that's a danger or a struggle, go to the coach, that's the pastor, and say, hey, just wanted to mention this to you, and then leave it. It's not your responsibility anymore. You do have the responsibility to report if you see something that could be of a problem, but you're not the fixer. You got your responsibility, stay there. I coached basketball for 14 years. I didn't expect my post players to understand the point position. And they had a view about the point position, but they were usually wrong because they weren't point. And so you gotta pick people that are good at their position, give them the responsibility to cover it there, and help them to understand, stay in your lane, and let the coach be the coach. You're not the coach.
A lot of what Brother Bachman said is ditto, but everybody has to understand that they are in their realm. I don't understand all the details of everything that Brother Bachman does or any of these other guys do in their ministry. So I have to give them grace that they know things that I don't know. They know it. They know details that I don't know. And so whether it makes sense or meet or not, I have to give them grace that they understand what they're doing because I'm not in all of the meetings and all the people dealings and all that with them. And so, as Brother Bachman said, everybody plays their part, stays in their lane. And then if there's something that you feel like you need to bring up, you just take it to the pastor and leave it there, and just move on and get back to business on what you're supposed to be doing.
The question is, what do you do when you disagree? I think it also depends on what you disagree on. If it's a doctrinal thing, if it's a biblical thing, that's one thing. But if it's a personality thing, it's he didn't tie his shoe right, or he wore shoes without laces, whatever the case may be. If there's a disagreement on that, I mean, I think the biggest thing, because there's a lot of folks, I think that might be the question of, I don't agree doctrinally. Well, that goes back to hiring right. And once I respect each one of these men, because they may know something, like he said, that I don't know. But to be honest with you, I'm thankful for them. If you're all pointing to the same direction, the same destination, it makes the ship sail so much smoother. And all these men are pointing to the same Heavenly Father, and we're following our pastor to point to him the best that we can, and it does cause for unity. When you're pointing the same direction, most likely your GPS is heading that way. And so it may be on a different street sometimes, but we stay in our lane, and it does help.
Being the newest one to the team, I can appreciate the team analogy that's been used, and there's not really much more I can add than that has already been said, except to give you maybe a practical, from my side, a practical application for me. I know learning the team has definitely been a lot of me asking a lot of questions, getting to know each individual person. And then if it does come a time when there is a disagreement, and one thing that I've been taught, it's not only a biblical principle, but I've seen it in ministry. I've grown up working in ministry my entire life. The biggest and best thing you can do is go talk to somebody. Don't hold it. Don't keep it in. Don't spread it around anyone else. If I have a problem with somebody, I'm going right to that person. And sometimes it's just a matter of asking a question. And it's not going to that person saying, hey, what's your problem, man? It's going to them and asking questions. If we're someone who can figure out what the answer to the matter is, then we won't be the one who's taking the dog by the ears. We'll actually be able to be okay in our relationships together. So I can appreciate the answer on communication and making sure that if I have a question, and being the newest one here, I am full of questions. Sometimes I feel like I'm the person who just doesn't know anything. I'm always asking questions. They're like, don't talk to us anymore. You're asking too many questions. But I can appreciate the team spirit that is here at Parkside. And so it's been a very familiar thing to be a part of. It's what I had growing up and serving the Lord with my family. And it definitely feels like family here. And the thing about family is you'll say things to family you don't say to other people. That's just the truth, all right? And I appreciate that here we'll tell it like it is, and we'll work things out. Never been something too much.
One of the things, too, I'll point out, all these men here have come from different backgrounds, every single one of them, okay? And coming from different backgrounds, you will develop a philosophy according to your environment and your background. When you become an assistant pastor for someone, your responsibility is not to bring your background. Your responsibility is to learn the philosophy of your pastor and to try to develop within that. And sometimes that may be a challenge, but and I like what Brother Will said, but that communication thing solves it all. It just solves it all. When you come in and talk, and if you have the right type of pastor, and you do, there's a man that wants to be able to hear your heart and to help you through the difficult times. All right, we got one more question. This will be an easy one. All you got to do is just give a statement, and we'll go eat because they all look hungry. And let me say this, Brother Bell. Mrs. Bell, would you raise your hand? Raise your hand. I appreciate the Bell family. Brother Bell asked my permission if he could preach off this week, and I normally don't give it, but I gave permission for him to do so, and he is doing a great job at the revival where he is at. But Denton is our missions director, and Denton came back. He called me. Both of those are graduates from our college, and he called me, and he said, Preacher, if I wanted to come back to be at Parkside, what do you think? I said, I open my arms with you, but I got a ministry for you already. And he's adopted a lot of the stuff I used to do overseas and has even just multiple times of what I used to do. And they have done a great job as our missions director, as caring for our missionaries and loving them and serving them. And he's also, of course, doing a great job here when he's here. And I just want to make mention of that. I saw her sitting there, and there's just a great couple as well that does a super job on staff here. Here it is, Brother Gilbert, we'll start with you. I'm a pastor. I'm looking for a side job. Does any of your assistant pastors have side jobs? And if they are, what are they? Go ahead.
Well, I don't know if most of you know, but I do Uber on the side. And I do it in the mornings. I do it at 5 in the morning. I do it till 7. And I've been doing that for about 8 years before I came on staff here, when I had asked Preacher that same question about the other assistant pastors, and he told me the same thing. He said they all have a second thing that they do also. So I do that, but the unique thing, or I'm sure I think others do the same thing, the unique thing that we do is that we use that also as an opportunity to witness. I have people that I drive to the airport every morning. I can't give you how many tracts I give out, opportunities, both English and Spanish. I think we've had some people come to our church through the Uber, through giving out gospel tracts. So, that's what I do on the side, just to help, with needs, extra needs that we might have. So, so that's what I do on the side.
Okay, Brother Botman.
I'm a drug dealer. And, that gives me opportunity to give more money to missions.
This is being
And I
recorded.
appreciate that. Woo! Oh, no. I, at 13 years old, started my first construction job, and I've done construction in some facet all my life. I owned my own construction business for a while, and in a lot of different areas. There's not just one area. It was more jack of all trades, master of none. But God's used that to help me be able to help a lot of churches that I've been involved in, but also help a lot of people so that they can save money, not having to spend the same amount they would have to spend to have somebody else come in. And I've done that for many years on the side, on my day off, go work 12 hours somewhere doing construction work. And that was a blessing to them, but it did provide a little extra additional income for me. And as I've gotten a little older, there are certain construction things I don't do anymore just because my body can't do it. And that's why I switched to dealing drugs.
One of my good friends, Byron Fox, said that every person in the ministry should have 7 lines of income. I haven't reached that one yet. But I love to travel, so I became a travel agent, and I have my own travel company called Heavenly Travels. If you need any help, let me know. And then I have Palmore Publications. I have a book that I've put out called Serving in the Shadows, and then my wife and I have recorded some music. She's in the process of writing music and us getting that published, so we do that. And then, like Brother Fernandez, I do a little bit of the Uber. I do Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, all that kind of stuff as needed.
Back when COVID hit, my wife and I started a YouTube channel for children because a lot of churches didn't have anything for kids. The Lord grew that and grew that. It's got over 300,000 subscribers now. That pays a little bit. Then we started Bible Brick Stories last year. That helps out. I've written books, coloring books. I did Uber for a little while, but when YouTube started stepping up, it took care of plenty of funds to be able to, not just for the family, but also we float a lot of the things in the children's department, just out of the funds that come through YouTube and things like that. But the Lord just kind of provided for that. It is a lot of work. Don't just think it's, hey, I throw a video up, ta-da! But the Lord has really blessed that. Yeah. Sometimes preach off, and people give love gifts and things like that too. But and if you have enough kids, you get a tax refund. I mean, There's that. I mean,
I wondered what the motive was.
six dependents now, you know. Anyhow. Brother Will.
All right, Brother Will.
Working on the kids' part. Let's see here. 10 years ago, I started a company. It's a company that services a lot of clinics and smaller businesses to run their technology remotely. So I do a lot of media work here at the church. I love to help out, but the place for me, the business that I started, that company manages a lot of infrastructure for clinics. So if you walk into a mom and pop clinic, you know, or a small doctor's office, they come in with a laptop. There's some nerd somewhere that made that happen, okay? That's what I do on the side. I started that 10 years ago, and I've been able to, the nice thing is my clients are in different places, so I do a lot of remote work for them, and I'll go and visit them every 6 months, and so preachers worked very well with me to make sure that I can still keep that going, and I very much appreciate that. But and then I also get to do work on the side for different churches that need work as well, whether it be websites or technology at their church, installing sound systems and things like that. So that's what I do on the side.
Good. Real quick philosophy. The guys that work for me here, they work 4 days. I give them a day off during the week. They can choose what day they have off. When I was in New York, I watched people get burned out. We had 11 staff guys that quit in the 2.5-year tender I was there, and 9 of them got out of the ministry, and I said, I'm not going to have that. So when I came here, I told guys, you work, you know, you basically work for me for 4 days, and they take a day off during the week. Now, I've had church members not understand that. Also, same church members that don't understand that don't understand the stress of the ministry. And I've lived in the ministry ever since the day I was saved. And so they get 4 days, they work for me, they get their day off, because I require them to come on Saturday. Every single one of them is required, and their family's required to be here too on Saturdays to go soul winning, okay? And they also put in full time on Sunday. So if I don't give them a day off during the week, they get no day off. Now, I've had some people in the church that say, well, I don't get a day off, but you don't do what they do. You don't do what they do. The stress, and I love you, but if you're a pastor, please understand this. The stress of the ministry is a greater stress than almost anything else you will do in life. And I respect them, I love them, I appreciate them, I want to protect them, I want to protect them and their families. Now, if they choose to do something like you're talking about side jobs, and some of them would do that on their day off, that's up to them. I pay them enough, I believe, to be satisfied, but they want to do extra things. Now, that's fine. Or they want to supplement their income even more. That's fine. Depends on their lifestyle. They can do whatever they want on that day off. I do not tell them what to do. If they want to spend time with their families, go off someplace, do it, whatever you want to do. Get a trip that Brother Palmer lines you up for, whatever, do whatever you want to do. I love them. I just want to say this in a public way. I appreciate this team. I appreciate our church knows what they've got here. They do a good job. Every year, Pastor, I do this. I bring the assistant pastors up. I read all the things that they do, and we have a assistant pastor appreciation day where I honor them in front of the church. The church people need to know all the labor that they do. And then every year, something you can do too, I honor their kids. So I will have if they have children, my wife and I, along with another adult couple, would take them off, and we just have a big time with the kids, just to let them know we love you, we thank God for you. I think it's important that you show publicly that you love and you appreciate people that work with you. And I certainly appreciate you, men. Give them a big round of applause. Good. All right, very good.